Welcome back. This is the virtual town hall session of the Monday Report. Virtual in that you can send in your questions and your comments using the WhatsApp number 0742961341. We'll be scrolling that on the screen. We're discussing politics and the pulpit. No politicians in the pulpit. Now, that was the rallying call yesterday by ACK Archbishop Ole Sapit. But, and a big but at that, will it deter politicians and will the ban last? Well, the Archbishop is here with us in studio together with the chairman of the National Muslim Leaders Forum, Sheikh Abdullahi Abdi. To both of you, thank you so much for joining us this evening on the Monday Report. Archbishop, it's only fair I start with you to understand why now. That's where I want us to begin.
Yeah, thank you, Ahiga. Why now is a big question. This is a culmination of what we see a very heightened participation of political leaders in the church. Unlike before, where people will come and sit and worship and go, now there is a more participation in terms of the political statement being made in front of the church. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where I began by looking at that observation. And every Sunday when we watch actually the news and see where the politicians participated in church, because that's what will come to the news anyway. We don't see the sermon, we don't see the worship, even song, even a single song which has been sung.
You want us to play those in the news?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Carry on. It's your,
and we don't hear the reading of the word itself. What we hear, the presence of the politician who was present in that day, making a political statement, and the bishop and the clergy at the background probably making a little nod, which looked like what happened in that church and what was processed in that church that day is not per se worship according to the news bite of that day, is a political statement. And I thought then we are making a very big confusion, because there is a whole collapsing of boundaries that where the word is supposed to be taught and preached has been taken over by people who are making political statements instead of the sermon, instead of the worship hour. And I thought this has to change. Of course, it did not start yesterday. It started gradually. And all of a sudden I realized we are going to be overrun, and the church completely will have no other message other than that which is being seen.
Have you consulted the various dioceses that make up your assemblies, or for you it was the way you communicated to them? No,
I had communicated earlier. I put it in the wall of bishops. Even last week I put a video caption of church leaders standing behind a politician, making a political statement, and all the people accompanying our church leaders, and I was telling them, are we ready to become cheerleaders? Because what I see is that the church is becoming almost cheerleaders of what political statements are happening. So I said, you know, I have made a communication telling them, let us stop politicians from participating in churches. You remember the fracas we had in Muranga South Diocese, when inside the church, two opposing groups began to yell at each other and divided the Christians themselves there, and they began howling words on each other because of the support of the politicians standing in front. And we thought, no, this has to change completely. And I said yesterday, it is different from telling people and telling others to stop it. Let me begin in a service. I am present, and the political class are there, and say today a change has to happen. And you know, remember the words I used, we have to shift gear. And the shifting is, I have the mic here, yes, but I'm not going to hand over.
You're not going to hand over. And I'm going to allow the Sheikh to come in because I know he has a reaction on this. But have you gotten the reactions you were expecting? Is the feedback what you expected?
The feedback I'm very happy about, because the church fraternity are all in support, and my bishop said this is the way to go. I know...
not disgruntled parties anywhere.
Yes. No. In my church, You know, I spoke about the Anglican Church of Kenya.
Okay.
I don't know the feedback of other churches, but for the Anglican Church of Kenya, my bishops are in unison, and the support and the comment in the wall of the House of Bishops of the Anglican Church of Kenya is enormous.
Okay.
So I don't know about other churches, and I speak on behalf of the Anglican Church of Kenya.
That's a fair point to make. Sheikh, thanks so much for your time as well. And with COVID-19 protocols ensuring that we don't see as many political gatherings as we would have seen, let's say 5 years ago, or if there was no COVID, a lot of politicians have taken to pulpits to propagate their messages, and yet we don't hear of these in the mosques. How? Let's start there.
Well, Iga, first of all, allow me, please. I want to congratulate Archbishop Sapit.
Feel free. You have the stage.
It's a very brave statement. It was timely. As Muslims, we have been waiting for it for a very long time. We thought it may not come, but finally we got our brother making that very brave statement. I congratulate him for that. For us, the mosque is a holy place. It is the house of God. Immediately you come and enter the gates of a mosque, you leave all your worldly things outside. And once you enter that place, there is nobody's position, status, which is going to be recognized. Whether you are a minister, or whether you are a pauper, or whether you are a beggar, you are all equal once you enter the mosque. So the question of politicians being given special treatment inside the mosque, being asked to move from back to the front line, to go and take over the pulpit and start addressing the people does not occur in a mosque at all, anywhere in the world. It is forbidden, completely forbidden. Yes, there are circumstances. If the committee does feel that to invite them for the interest of the community, they can be called. For example, you just asked about something very important, about the COVID-19. If you take a place like Jamia Mosque, on a Friday we get between 10 and 15,000 for the Friday prayers. You have got a very big audience.
A ready audience, and
a ready audience that has already assembled. You don't need to mobilize them. So in a place like that one, if it is necessary, the committee of that mosque can call people who are specialized in that field. Doctors, health workers, or even in some cases, if it's a politician who is going to address specifically that subject, can be called in the interest of the community and for the welfare of the people who are there. But never will we allow politicians to come and take over the pulpit and address and politic in a mosque. Because if you allow one, will you stop the other one? Any sitting politician has got somebody opposing him, either immediately in the coming elections. So if you allow one of them, are you going to allow the other ones to come in? Are you going to favor one against the other one? But basically the principles of and the etiquette of coming into the mosque is you leave your worldly things outside, you come there having cleansed not only your body, because we do ablution before coming there. Once you walk in there, you also try to cleanse your heart. You come in there, you try to reflect to the sins that you have committed outside. You come there in such a humble manner that you hand over yourself to your Creator and ask for forgiveness. So under such circumstances, you cannot come with your haughtiness and start threatening people and politic and talk about your might and how you are going to take over the country and politics. So that's our position.
Archbishop, I'm sure you have a reaction to that. Are you hearing it? And how do you get that refocus back? Because you're right in that that's the message that we now hear from a lot of churches after Sunday.
Yeah, actually, where I have reached and with the Anglican Church of Kenya is we must have a refocusing and a new way of beginning to look at things and to focus at the church and the church space as a place of worship and solemn prayer, and we should not mix with other things. The problem we have done in the past is that we have collapsed the boundaries. In many ways, and I can say the Christian family, we have collapsed the boundary in many ways. And one of the boundaries that has been collapsed was through, I think that the entry was through what was developed in the 70s and carrying through the 80s, the African spirit of mobilizing resources to bring together through the Harambee spirit, pulling resources together to address a need. And we use that to build schools, we use it to build dispensaries, it has been used to pay hospital bills and pay school fees, and churches followed suit that when we are building churches, we call Harambees. Now, in the calling of those Harambees is where now we have adopted the place of somebody called the guest of honor. And when the guest of honor comes, you know, in the African spirit of wanting to, you know, embrace, we give an opportunity to greet the people. So it started gradually, like a moment of greeting, a moment of recognition, but slowly by slowly, it became more intense, and now it's no longer greeting, it is a place for making political statements. And this is where I felt the church should not be the place to make political statements. It should be the place of worship, a place of prayer, a place of repentance. And I said, even yesterday, we are not going to bar anybody from coming to church. Even politicians are not barred from coming to church, but their place is in the pews. While the ministers of the gospel, the preachers of the word, the teachers of the word are the ones to direct worship and to lead worship.
Archbishop, while many, and I'm looking at social media, cheering you on, some are asking, is that enough?
It's a beginning point. I will not say it is enough, but I'm saying it is a beginning point.
What next might we see from you or from the church fraternity?
I think what next is to continue to make that a space called church to be a space where people are given hope, where people are counseled, where people are directed, where despair, where brokenness is being addressed. But you know, you come and there are many brokenness cases. We have family breakups. We have opportunities to mend them. And the messages are not messages to bring these people together, to reduce the pain. We have seen a lot of homicide. And the concentration of clergy should be, our work is to mend that and bring society back to her moral stature, bring society back to a place where their focus and attention is on God, not on humanity and not on us as human beings, but on God the healer, God the creator. And I think if we can be able to make that happen more and more. And what I added even today is that our clergy and our bishops should be busy actually planning for activities of the church. And what we have seen of late are movements that religious leaders are classified with the grassroots leaders, and they are being invited from this home to another home to another home, abdicating the role that they are supposed to be with the Christians, they are supposed to be with those who are hurting.
Okay, and I'll stop you there because I want to interrogate that further, but let me allow Sheikh to also come in as well. Does this then allow the interfaith Assembly of Kenya to then focus on now really giving the country political direction? We're a little over 11 months to the next general election, and many have been asking, have religious organizations lost the voice they once had to give direction at a time when there's a lot of confusion in the midst of a pandemic, and nobody really is giving the direction that Kenyans are looking for? Does this present an opportunity in your view?
You're quite right. It presents an opportunity. In fact, just right now, when we are at the reception sitting with the Archbishop, we're asking one another, we have not met for a very long time, what happened? You see, what happens is everybody has got his or her territory. Everybody has got his or her church or mosque that we go to. Under normal circumstances, our job is not politics. We are not guardians of what politicians do. We are guardians for the whole of the society in terms of them living in peace and harmony and to pray to their Creator. Now, it is not very often that we do meet. But at the same time, we have got a call. We have got a responsibility and we have got a duty to our Creator that if things are not going in the right direction, we are responsible and we should stand up. And it is when there is crisis and when there is a major threat to the country that we get together. Believe it or not, already there are moves along those lines. And Archbishop will bear me out. There are already discussions going on, trying to cool the tempers of what's happening in this country. Temperature is going up higher and higher. We still have got 11 more months to go. But the way things are going right now, you think that the election is going to happen within a month. And we're very, very much worried. We are praying day and night that we have peace in this country, which is actually the pearl of what we want to happen to this country. But we are meeting, we are discussing. What do we tell the politicians? You know, Waiga, this country is about 580,000 square kilometers. There are just slightly less than 500 members of parliament, including Senate and National Assembly. Each one of them can have 1,000 square kilometers to himself to go and politic. I don't see why they're leaving that and coming up to our 100 by 100 square feet of a church or a mosque and to come and campaign there. The whole of Kenya is wide open for them. You don't see Archbishop or myself going into the precincts of Parliament and trying to talk to them and try to preach to them. We leave them there. We have our place, they have their place. When they're in a problem, they can come and us and pray with us. But at the same time, let's leave them where they are. They want to meet Kenyans. The whole of Kenya is wide and open for them. Let them leave us in our place. It is the last bastion. When there's a problem in this country, the MPs and the senators will run into the churches and the mosque to come and seek solace from God and ask us to pray with them. So let's give these places, places of a lot of respect. Let us leave it as it is.
Let us leave
Stay
it as
there
it is.
and leave us. But to answer to your call, we are thinking about it. We pray it doesn't come to us to that actually we intervene. But should it be required, we have got a moral responsibility, spiritual, and a duty to our Creator that we will intervene.
Archbishop, there's a viewer asking, David Ngure Nganga. He says, my Archbishop, I guess, is a member of the Anglican Church. How will you ensure my parish vicar in Kabete won't allow politicians in their church? Do you have a way of monitoring 24/7? Because he feels it could have, well, there's some who say you had a personal vendetta against politicians present. That's his personal view. I don't think so. But he has a valid question about how will you then enforce?
Actually, yesterday I had no vendetta with the politicians who are present, and I said, it is not only these ones who are present today, even those who are not there. And I gave a list of the functions I'll be presiding over in the next 5 weeks. And I said, let them come to All Saints Cathedral. This coming Sunday, I'm consecrating another bishop. Whichever Mrengo they will come from, they will not have the opportunity. I'll be going to Meru. They will come and they will not have the opportunity. I'll go to Marlal. I'll go to Malindi. And I said, we have to begin from somewhere. I know anything new will not stop everywhere all at a go. And I'm not assuming that I'm going to police the church and ensure that every local church is manned. We don't have a kind of a police force in the church to man those spaces. But what we are doing, what I've done, I have provided leadership. I have provided direction. And that's the role of the leader, such as me, so that the bishop of that diocese will see what I've done, and they will gather the courage, tell their clergy the path of the Anglican Church of Kenya from the leader from today is this. You know, it is different what I did yesterday from what we have been saying, write a pastoral letter, write a circular, let people read. But I said, beside the circular or writing a pastoral letter, let me begin practically, so that it's not something that we are giving direction. It is something we are saying, it is a stop from today. We are here in this gathering. They are here, we are here. And the service will go manned by the clergy, finish the service. If they want to address the congregation, they will do it outside of the worship area. And I said, it has to be given leadership. And nobody, I did not expect anybody to have that courage to give that leadership. I said, I will take the mantle myself. And you know, I saw politicians today say, yesterday I did that because those who are present there, they have labeled them as those who go to Aganga, but them who come to church, they'll be given the opportunity. Let me make it clear here, that let them try to come to the church I am. Any politician, they will not have the opportunity.
What do you say to the pastor this evening who's watching you from some far-flung part of the country, one of the arid or semi-arid areas? He has been promised a roof for their church by a politician. And they know the only way they'll get that roof, those bricks to complete their little structure, is if they allow the politician maybe to greet worshippers on the average Sunday. What do you say to that pastor today? Because he knows if he implements what you're asking for, no roof, no church.
You know, matters of faith boil down to internal interrogation and making moral judgments. What I will say to that pastor is to listen to himself, listen to God, and ask themselves, what is the church meant for? Is the church going to be a place where politics will take center stage and the whole discussion will be about politics? or the church is a place of worship. And this is what we have done. I said 2019, we are no longer going to announce the amount of money donated by politicians and all of us in the church. And we have had now several Thanksgiving services in my cathedral at All Saints, including one two Sundays ago. And we made sure that nobody's contribution is announced. And we are not going to give anybody recognition. Nobody spoke about it because we only say the basket is there. We have a thanksgiving for the diocese. And you know, it is biblical to give thanks and give tithe and give sadaka and zakah. So we say that's the basket. We all take what we have to the basket. The pay bill number is displayed. People commit what they wanted to commit. Nobody talked about it. I don't even know how much we raised that day because it's not announced. It is going to the intention. I will read it in the report later on that day when we gathered, this was how much which was contributed, and it has to go within the budget of that local church. So I say if we want to make things right, yes, we have opportunity to make them right, even right in the village, by doing the right thing in the village.
Sheikh, come in. How are fundraising matters handled amongst the Muslim fraternity when you have, you know, believers who have needs, when you have a project that needs sort of the community support? How would the fundraising model be handled, bearing in mind harambes have become very controversial during this political season?
Mwaiga, almost all, not most, of the mosques that you see around in the country are paid for by local Muslims. In the past, more than 30, 25 years ago, there used to be funds that come from outside. Now, all these funds are being raised locally. How is it being raised? The principles of giving sadaqah, or, you know, paying for the cause of Islam or Muslims, is described that the best form of payment towards that cause is when you give you the right hand and your left hand is not aware of what happened. Forget about publicizing that Abdullah Abdi has donated 1 million shillings. In fact, if I do donate, I don't even want them to know that I have donated anything. That is the way I believe that we get more blessings. Because you are not doing to show it to anybody, you are doing it for the purpose of getting acceptance of your sadaqah by your creator. That's how we do. We do harambes once in a while. Like, for example, there's a major project. At that particular time, of course, a function is being held, and you know, funds are being given. A lot of times you will hear that somebody has donated 5 million shillings. You will not know who that person of 5 million shillings. Yes,
you will not know.
You will not know. A lot of times. There are people who will give the way, because, you know, all Muslims are not the same. Somebody will want to give some million shillings and says, you know, taja jina langu bwana. You know, I've got interest of something in the future. But a lot of time you'll see most of the money that comes in, you don't even know who is contributing. You hear some lady is sick, or she's in the hospital, and we get a lot of this. For example, you know that we have to bury on the same day. We don't have time to go and raise funds for somebody who has died and is in the hospital and is in the morgue. We raise the money on a daily basis. Believe it or not, we are paying for people to be released from hospitals in the region of 10 to 15 million shillings a day in Nairobi alone. But what does happen is, immediately that thing happens, it is announced in the mosques, or we have got forums where that is announced and people contribute. And I tell you, this money comes from America, it comes from Britain, it comes from all over. Through these forums, you don't even know who has contributed. But that is how we do raise our funds. The principle is contribute with a clean heart, not expecting any appreciation from any human being. Appreciation must come from God. Okay. So that's how we raise our money.
Very, very interesting model that you've laid out there. And to both of you, allow us to take a break now. But let me read some feedback here. Senator Kasanga, Sylvia Kasanga says, the church must find another method of fundraising. Can the good bishop commit to that? I'll give him a chance to respond to that on the other side of the break. Let me read one or two other tweets. Asmaili, he calls himself the mayor. We're waiting to see what seat he'll be voted in on, if that's his aspiration. He says he really is enjoying the debate, and he says freedom prospers when religion is vibrant and the rule of law under God is acknowledged. One last one here. Peter Warutere says that politicians should remember that former President Kibaki attended Mass every Sunday at the Consolata Shrine never once campaigned or engaged in political talk. We are in strange times. Keep sending in your messages at 22423's SMS line. Hashtag is Monday Report. And remember, we've been scrolling that line. You can send in a video question or a video comment, and I'll pose it to our distinguished clergy on the other side of this break. What a discussion we are having here on the program today. And a lot has changed since that declaration by the ACK Archbishop yesterday. But is it enough? We'll be back to find out.